Hi, I'm Jazz Tenke, Senior Artisans Editor at Variety, and I am so excited to be here today for an exciting chat on the Apple TV show Schmigadoon. And the show has been recognized by the AFI as one of the TV programs of the year and has appeared on numerous best shows lists of the year too. And additionally, actress Kristen Chenoweth received the Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series from the Critics' Choice Association. So, yay! Without further ado, let me introduce the fantastic cast. With us today, we have Keegan-Michael Key, Jane Krakowski, Anne Harada, Kristen Chenoweth, Alan Cumming, and Dove Cameron. Hello and welcome, and congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
Jazz.
Thank you so much.
That was as musical as I'm going to get. But when I first started watching the show, I had no idea how much I would fall in love. And I think from the first frame, I was like, what are we letting ourselves in for? And by the end, it's like, I need a second season, watching it again. When you first got the script, when you heard about it, like, did you know what you were getting in for? And Keegan, I'm going to start with you.
I think that the script is so well wrought and so well written, and the ideas are so crystal clear that I felt like I did know what I was getting in for. I mean, when you get to rehearsal, you rehearse like, oh, this is a lot of work, but it's all worth it. But initially I felt, oh, this is really, really, really something I want to be involved with. I felt it was just the heart of the piece jumps off the page immediately, even as they're just setting everything up in the first couple of episodes. But I could feel how spectacular this thing could. You could feel the potential of the piece. I was really, really excited to have been asked to work on it. Yeah, so almost like immediately for me.
Dove, what about for you when you first got that script and seeing everything jump off that page?
Yeah, I actually had the added benefit of I was one of the last people cast. So not only did I get the script, the final completed script, which also is sometimes not a given when you're being cast. You don't get to always see the material in full in the way that we did. But I also knew all of the incredible actors who were already signed on to do the project. So I knew immediately, not just from the material, but through hearing, the voices of these people that I've looked up to for so long.
Oh, wow.
And that's right. Yeah. That I've loved so much. And I knew the kind of magic and devotion that they were going to bring to it. So I've been saying this whole time, like I was going to do anything to be a part of this project. I was going to be on street corners with a megaphone. So I think it was just kind of a magical thing to see it come together in the way that we all expected, and then more so because of how much we all fell in love and the chemistry that was there.
Before we move on, who was cast first? Like, I love hearing like who came on and then how that chain went.
Well, Cecily was cast first, wasn't it? Because it was sort of called, it was her project. It was called Untitled Cecily Project at one point.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know the chronology after that, but I know, I remember when I got the script, it was like Cess, and then I can't remember, it was Cess and somebody else, and then tons of TBCs. And so so then as every name kind of came in, I was like, oh, them? Yeah. Oh my God, them too? It's like, it was great. Just like
you were early on, Jane.
Every week.
You were early on, Jane, weren't you? Because you did the workshops and things for it.
I was lucky enough to be a part of a bunch of the readings during the creative process. And I think it started out as 10 episodes at least, or maybe 8. And then they sort of weaned the story. But Cecily was always a part of it. It was definitely called the Cecily Strong Untitled Project. And I just fell so in love with it during the readings, in which I read many different various parts and didn't know what part I ultimately would be in it. But I just wanted to be a part of it so much. And I loved it. Obviously, I would be like its main viewer. So it's like one of the few times where I was like, I want to do this because I also want to watch it. And so, but when I first met Cinco, Paul, I realized why the script had so much love and why it was so joyous for me to read and enjoy, because every moment was filled with Cinco's love of musical theater and every aspect of musical theater, from the performers to the choreography to the love of how hilarious it is that people suddenly burst out into song. And so I just wanted to be a part of it in any way, a bit like Dev, any which way I could, and was thrilled to get the wonderful little showy, sassy part that I got. But I think if you meet Cinco Paul, then you understand exactly the heart of how Schmigadoon was born and created.
Yeah. Kristen, what about for you? What was it that jumped off the page when you got the script?
I think during the height of the pandemic, when I read it, I knew that we needed it. First of all, we needed it. Second of all, a lot of my friends are in it. It's people that I really look up to and respect. And, you know, I was just talking to Sonnenfeld about it and the script, and he said, we're going to do your song in one thing. And that caught my eye. But really, it's the love of music theater. It's a love letter to music theater is what it is. It's not making fun of, but it is, but in a loving way. And I love that. And the heart of it is, you know, Keegan and Cecily. And we all can, they're wackadoos and we can be wackadoos, and we all kind of wackadoo at different times. And then there's the heart of it, which is them.
Yeah. Alan, for you, what did you love about the script when you got it?
I just loved how it sort of managed to deal with so many current sort of topics and issues, actually, and in a way that was not, you know, banging you on the head, and also within this form that was both a parody and a homage to musicals. And I just thought it was so clever, and you know, the cast was obviously great, and everything about it seemed pretty fantastic. And also it was like, you know, 6 months into the pandemic, I love my husband, but it was time for me to go away somewhere and make movies. There was that, and it was in Canada where it was safe, and we got to be in Canada for the US election, so that was nice to be out of America when all that was going on. So there was I had a lot going for it. I was also next door neighbours to Kristen Chenoweth in the hotel in Canada, so that, of course, that was a dream. That was a dream to be her handmaiden.
I did Morse code on the bathroom door in the middle of the night. I'm sure he appreciated it a lot.
Sang loudly. And dog sat.
Yes. I got to take care of his dog, which I needed because my animal wasn't with me. And I just slyly go over there and go, does Lala want to sleep with Kristen tonight?
It wasn't
You know that
really
Morse
sweet.
code, Kristen. Wow. That's
I love you. And then I would sing and he'd be like, shut up. You know, it's funny.
It was actually really sweet though. It became very like communal because we were in such a COVID bubble. Like Alan made Thanksgiving dinner for us in Canada, and you know, everybody, there were sleepovers, and I fell asleep in Kristen's bed. I still have a big T-shirt that Kristen was like, "Take it." You know, it's like,
Debbie, you know, it's meant to be yours, and it's
I hire you to be me.
Oh,
What?
God, that's
I
amazing.
hire you to be me.
So good.
Ann and me, Dev and Alan were together a lot. We were just together a lot because we were in the
same way. And Fred was always
and
our
Freddie. Oh, Freddie.
and Ariana.
Of course.
And Ariana.
You know, that's right. She was there too. We were all in the same hotel, weren't we? Yeah.
This is the most loving group I've ever seen assembled together. I mean, obviously, like, everybody is esteemed in what they do, and you were so proud, as you guys said, that when everybody signed on, we're like, I couldn't believe it was all these greats. And then if you could still see the email chains that go on amongst the entire Schmigadoonian group, they're just, everything is so loving and kind and sweet and congratulatory. And, you know, when it aired, everybody was saying, you know, congrats on everybody's performance. And now Kristen with her nomination. And it's just like, it is truly, I think, the most loving, supportive group ever to be assembled working on a show.
The thing about that is, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, and you sound
The thing
amazing.
about that is it's so easy to be in love with everybody because we're all, you know, we all love the same thing. We were all there for the same reason because we wanted to be a part of this homage to what we love. You know, we just loved it so much and it made us laugh. And I remember Cecily saying to me on set, like, it's funny, right? You think it's funny? And I was like, yeah, I think it's funny.
It's so funny.
But like, when sometimes when you're in your own head, and we were all in our own head so much during the pandemic, it was kind of hard to tell. And all of a sudden, there we were kind of surrounded by all of these people that we all admired so much. And we're like, we're working on something together and it's really funny. And, there's something really beautiful about that experience. So it's very, very easy to love people in Schmigadoon.
You're right.
Love that. I mean,
It also
going back to
came
Chris.
at a time when you couldn't go to see musical theater
Right.
or live
Right.
theater. And so it had that heightened sense of performing that we actually couldn't get to see outside of, thank goodness, Apple TV Plus for making it and airing it at that time.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say. Sorry, go ahead, Keegan.
Oh, I'm simply agreeing wholeheartedly with Jane. Yeah. I do that a lot. I do that a lot. I agree wholeheartedly with Jane. That's a thing I do. It's worked out really well for me in my life. And,
True.
Yeah, I was going to agree with Jade and Kristen and you now to say, like, because I think this was such a gift. Like, if you love musical theater, it is a love letter to theater, as to musical theater, as Alan was saying. But also, what was it like for you to be on set performing musical numbers and just giving this to the world at a time when Broadway was shuttered and we didn't know when we would be out of this world, this crazy situation that we all found ourselves in.
it's funny. It's interesting. There was, I don't know. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but almost a heightened sense of privilege that we got to do this for the world at this time when there was this very specific restriction that affects people spiritually and emotionally. And so I say opportunity, but I guess also a privilege, but it's also, of course, was a very distinct and profound opportunity for us, for all of us. And so that's what comes to mind for me when you say that it's like, this is the offering. It felt a little bit like, in the 19th century when you got a letter, you know what I mean? Like someone says, oh my God, we got something that we can hold on to and relish. And I again, don't want to speak for anybody else, but a sense of kind of almost precious responsibility that we're going to make this thing be the best thing it can possibly be. Had a lot of Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney energy to it. I got a barn. Let's go put, let's put on a show.
Totally. I'm agreeing with Keegan now. That's my thing now.
Also, Jazz, when we
Is that better lighting? Is that better lighting? Is this better?
Yes.
No. There you go. That, Alan, that's better.
That's better.
But we would see each other every day with our cones and our mask, and we would be confused. Alan always forgot his cone a lot of times. And, we feel, am I spayed? Am I neutered? Can I hug? Can I not? Do I leave? Do I go? But when we would get on that set, I mean, it just, I don't know. It felt like we were, we didn't have this, but it felt like we were making something we were going to be very proud of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it really did.
What was it like having to dance on camera and sing? And, it's totally different to theater, right? So talk about the challenges of that. I mean, did anybody have two left feet before even doing this show, or just doing those musical numbers? And because you're also in character too, you're not just dancing for fun. This is serious stuff.
Jane?
No one's going to admit they had two left feet, first of all.
Bye.
Chris Catelli, our choreographer, was amazing, though.
Amazing.
Absolutely
Nice.
amazing.
What a lovely boy.
Lovely. That's a perfect way of putting it, Alan. Generous and gracious and exuberant, and definitely, the dancers were spectacular, absolutely spectacular. This group of people in British Columbia, they were absolute. I mean, am I right, guys? They were exceptional.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Darling.
And also very supportive and nurturing as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that there was a strange Apple and Cinco and Barry just bought up every cross-genre artist. So truly it was like everybody who was a part of this had done kind of every incarnation of performing possible. And so when it was like, you're going to be dancing and singing live, and you're going to be acting for camera, and you're going to be on these massive, larger than life, magnificent Willy Wonka sets. Everyone was kind of like, okay, yeah. Like it was a sort of a strangely easeful experience. And everybody behind the scenes really, really made sure that was true. But like you said before, in the sense that it was an isolative experience, and we were, we only had so many takes to get it right, which was kind of a strange thing for film and TV. Normally you have like an almost unlimited, allotting for the time in the day. Like there was a sort of a performative, like, and now you're on stage, like we will do this twice, thrice, and then we're done. So it was this sort of it called upon all of our previous experiences in every regard, but in a strange way, it made it easier, at least. And that's if I'm speaking for everybody.
And I think it was also, it was noted that they wanted to shoot the dance numbers and the musical numbers head to toe, which on camera, that is not normally the case. And I mean, even when they record musicals on Broadway live, they always still come in, you're like, but you're not getting the experience of what it feels like in the theater. And I think it's really wonderful that they took a concerted effort to show the dance from head to toe and to include so much of that, which was, limited in our amount of takes we could have, but so wonderful for Chris's, I thought, incredibly inventive and smart choreography that gave the perfect nods to the shows that we were nodding at the time, but also still fresh and loving. And again, the dancers were incredible too. But it's nice to be able to see someone not cut off, 3/4 of the way or only getting some of the move. It was really nice to see so many takes be full body and show all of Chris's talents and the cleverness that he bestowed on all of us.
Yeah. Also, I think Barry shot it in a way that was like those old 40s and 50s Hollywood musicals where they didn't cut very often. They would move the camera and they would just do clever things in order to keep these quite long takes. And it really sort of helped with the whole homage to to the material, that it was actually shot in a similar sort of way as well. I thought that was a really clever thing. It felt like, oh, we're not doing any close-ups. What? Oh, really? Oh, actually, I think all our performances were big enough that we didn't need
It was welcomed, and it was welcomed.
Yeah, right. It was actually embraced, right?
Finally.
Right.
Yay for Barry Sonnenfeld embracing.
We also started, if you guys remember, I mean, basically Cinco was Cecily's part and Barry was Keegan's part, because Cinco is absolutely in love with musical theater. And Barry had our first meeting with Barry saying, I hate musical theater. We were all kind of like, huh, wait, what? I think we won him over by the end, but it definitely had that, I think, is what gave it a unique perspective, actually, the way he shot it. And it also has that weirdness that Barry's kind of known for, that slightly fisheye kind of look as well. And I think that helped actually give it its own unique tone, that if you had maybe a musical theater lover or someone who was as versed in musical theater, it may have changed it slightly. I think it actually gave it more uniqueness because Barry was not a fan.
He grounded it, right?
Yeah.
Y'all? He grounded it. That's what you're saying, Jane. He just grounded it. And so we were able to be rooted in the truth and then be what we needed to be.
Yeah, and I think Keegan is so hilarious, and I feel like I am totally the musical theater lover too. But every time you would drop one of your lines about musical theater observations or not enjoying it, I would laugh so hard because you just know that is what so much of musical theater audience is thinking at all the time.
Yeah.
So awesome. You're so hilarious.
Honey, you came on, you just like kicked the door down. That was a perfect kick the door down scene, and you just splintered it. I mean, that thing was like in molecules when you were done. It was just like right at the end, it was as if you're driving a fast car and you hit the nitrous oxide, you hit the Kukowski oxide. When the car, sped, we got this other like little jolt toward the end. It was so good.
You're
as
so
well
sweet.
as
I felt like I was like this unknown element because I didn't get to do the read through with all of you guys.
Right.
And so like I just came in and like did my own little separate section until it aired. Did we all see what everybody else did? So but that's very kind of you.
Alice, I love
Also
this.
talk about how
Of course, I'm a Nazi.
Oh, I laughed so hard. I laughed so hard.
of
I
course.
laughed at every one of y'all. I laughed at every one of y'all. I mean, there were some takes that we were on set and Anne just the way she was. I know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't look at her.
Can't with Harada. Can't.
Not.
I just wanted to say about Barry, about this world that he created, that I think that's one of his strengths as a director, is creating kind of slightly off-kilter worlds that you believe. You know what I mean? Based on his body of work, right? And so I sort of feel like that's the perfect place for him with Schmigadoon, because you just, Kristen was right. He grounded us. He made it a place that people could sort of like buy into the conceit that like we're in a musical, but it didn't seem too weird. It seemed just right to me. I felt like it felt very like normal and fine, like for us as actors.
It's interesting. It's like the way he uses the camera, which gives you that otherworldly style that Jane was talking about, right? I think, Annie, it's almost like it allows us to be real.
Correct.
So right, it allows us to be grounded, like Kristen was saying, that don't worry, the shot looks weird. You just be you.
Right.
Yeah.
Did he give you much room to improvise at all? I mean, obviously you've got your scripts and then you've got those moments, but how much freedom did you have to just, I don't know if that's a dangerous question.
No. Cecily and I are by training improvisers, by vocation are improvisers. And we improvised quite a bit. And then eventually, it actually, to be quite honest, it kind of organically started tapering off a bit because I felt like Cinco's word. I'm like, what am I doing? Cinco's words are so well placed. The jokes are so well written. And then for me, it evolved to let's work on the rhythm of the dialogue, the way we work on the songs.
Right.
And let this thing, it ended up having a snappier, more polished feel. And then I kind of fell into a groove where I could go, up. This is where we're supposed to be living. This is where we're supposed to be living, especially in Schmigadoon. Especially, I think for me and Cess, any place where we used any improv, which was scant, was in real life in the flashbacks. Whereas there was a musicality to the language and to the dialogue when we were in Schmigadoon.
I just want to say this, Jazz. Try creeping up the stairs. Keegan and Cecily are having a fight before they go into their hotels. And I'm creeping up the stairs and my little feather, and Bear's like, lower, and then just appear. And I'm laughing in the stairwell at these two knuckleheads just improvising. And then what I loved watching, Keegan, was you two improvise and then do it, and then go back to like the original and then improvise. They played the whole time, Cess and Keegan. They played. And that's the key word right there. And it was just beautiful to watch.
Sweet.
Did anybody else get to improv much or?
I don't remember improvising much, Julie. I feel like when the material's that good and it is so musical and rhythmical, that no, I didn't. I mean, I think you only are prone to improvise when either you're bored or the material's not
That's
good
right.
enough. And
You raise it up.
or else you're in an improv session thing, So I feel like none of those things were the case in this. So I don't think I did.
I tried to learn a little German and I threw a few of them in a few takes saying, they didn't make the edit.
I was impressed with your German. I was impressed.
Went away from the groundedness we were looking for, I guess.
Steph, what about you? What did you do any improv? Yeah.
I think what was so great about the weird way that this set was run was it was like, Barry was very, like, if you wanted to, they were never like, stick to the script. It was very like, whatever. Like, Barry is so precise with how he works that I felt like if I wanted to, I had free reign to improv. And then Cinco, if he was like, I really want it done like this, he would come in and say that. But like everybody else, to echo everybody else's sentiments, like the material is so good. And also weirdly, I think that the way that Barry shoots kind of aids in that approach. It's like, it's sort of probably Kristen's experience on Pushing Daisies. Like Barry's got this very snappy way of working. He knows exactly what he wants. When you get there, the shot is set up. He says, this is what we're doing. And as an actor, you kind of like come in and like slot in, it's very like, and here I go animating the way that we've laid it out. And in that sense, you're so safe. The work has been done for you in so many ways, which is not always the case on every set. And so I feel like the way that Barry shoots, it really actually aided in the way that Cinco wrote. And so you kind of just felt like you wanted to come in and do it the way that it was written, but you still had the freedom to go off track if you wanted to. It was a really, really communal project in that way, which is also very rare. So I was very like, I feel like that created a sort of air of community on set as well that we all really loved.
Kristen, if I didn't talk to you about Tribulation, I think people would be like, what was that whole session? So they would come after me. So let's talk about Tribulation and filming that. Just, the hair and makeup and the tight outfit, the button stiff, talk about all of that and filming.
Jasmine, when they called me about this character, I said, I read it really carefully. I said, I think she's maniacal, angry, and I think she used to be Dove's part. What made her so angry? Like, that's what I had to approach. And then when I knew it was a oneer, and I know Alan knows this because he was my next door neighbor, I just practiced at any given moment. If I said go, I didn't want them to wait on me. And I knew it was a oneer, and I had like 3 hours fully with the crew. And I just want to make sure everything was safe, of course, because and they were on board. Barry knew what he wanted. I knew what I wanted to deliver. Cinco knew, and we did it twice. And the Joker lips was the maniacal part of her. The too tight corset, which did make me cranky, actually. I wanted her to be uncomfortable, just judgmental, but also that would give me that the character, that moment at the end to see, oh, maybe people can become better. And that during the times that we're living in, that's kind of how can we do better? And I just thought she would have voted for Trump. Okay. Sorry. I shouldn't say that. Shouldn't get political, but she would. And in the name of God. And I just thought, no. But I have to love her in order to play her when you play these types of characters. So when they said, yes, you can do the Joker lips. Yes, you can do the too tight corset. And I said, I don't want that bun from like Psycho. And Barry goes, not quite, but Mildred Pierce. So that's how it was born. I said, I have to be brunette, and I want to be angular, stark. I want to present something different. We all get caught up in how we're going to look, right? And how we're supposed to look. And we kind of get not typecast, but, the blonde and I was like, oh no, I'm ready. Give me the red lipstick. Let the wrinkles show. Come on.
And also, because I love that you're a part of a group called Women. No, is it Mothers Against the Future?
Mothers Against the Future. Mothers Against the Future. She's dead serious. I really want to get that on a shirt, but then I'm afraid people will think I'm serious.
See, that would be fun merchandising from Apple for right?
The right people will know.
Yes, exactly. It's an inside joke. It's an inside joke. Apple needs to get on it.
MADF. Mothers Against the
The future.
The future.
The future. Mothers Against the future.
Alan. Did anybody else have a say in their characters' looks and as much as Kristen did, or was that all decided?
Well, I had a big say. Like, they wanted me to. I had a big beard, a big COVID beard, and my hair was like Grizzly Adams because I'd been in the mountains for months. And they were like, "Don't do anything. We think you should have a beard and all this stuff." And then when we were working on it in rehearsals and stuff, I said to them, I can't have a beard. he's got to be like a metrosexual, this man. That's how he should look. He should be like, you know, he's, and as he is, he's like the gay straight man. And well, straight gay man.
The straight gay man, right?
Yeah, he should look like he should be absolutely well groomed, and so that was a big change that we made. And then they put these little flicky things on my, you know, moustache. So I thought he should be very particular, like the song that Anne sings. I mean, that was a big sort of influence, and when she sings about him, that was a big influence in how I thought he should look and how he should be. And you know that picture, there's the blue boy picture in our house, that's me as the blue boy. They sent that to me. I have it. I have this gigantic picture of myself as the blue boy.
Where are you going to put it? Where are you going to put it, Alan?
This is where, like, I have upstate, I have a little shed as a gym, and I put all the pictures of myself from shows and magazine covers and blah, blah, all those things. I put them all in that gym. And I think it's a really good thing to exercise whilst hundreds of pictures of yourself in a younger, hotter way are staring at you.
Way to go.
That's where it's gone. Filling up.
The only thing that I really wanted to make sure, I had this idea in my head, and I don't actually remember seeing it in the script, but I decided early on she was going to be incredibly chesty. Like, I was just like, this character has to have so much cleavage. It looks like a different, like, that's a separate character, is the cleavage. And so for my audition, I swear, I made a joke for ages. I was like, that's what booked me the part. For my audition, it was like absurd cleavage. And it was like to the point where it was like almost too much. And I was like, they're either going to think this is so funny, or I'm going to like be blacklisted. And they thought it was funny. And so for every costume, it was like lower, tighter. And it really, I think, adds to the warmth, the largeness of her heart. You just really perceive it. So I thought that would just be so funny if she was just like ridiculously buxom. But you know, in the way that those like kind of classic characters are drawn, just like absurd. But one thing that I thought was so funny, sort of akin to Jane's studying German, that kills me. I had no idea you were doing that. That never made the cut, was Kristen had this brilliant idea to have this mole on her that every time you saw her in the next cut, it would be somewhere else. And I thought that was one of the funniest things I had ever heard. And they decided against it, but Kristen was like, I want it here. And the next time you see her, it's here. It's like Igor's hump. It's just like always somewhere else. I thought that was so funny. And I
love that idea.
Thanks, Dubby. I'm still devastated. I the traveling mole, you know? I don't know.
Oh, that's so good.
Barry said, I think that might be too far. I was like, oh, I'm ready to go there. Have a little hair come out. I'm fine with it.
That's a season 2 wish thing, you know, put it out there in season 2. The traveling mole suddenly appears out of nowhere. All right. Favorite moments from the show that you love?
None. We all hated it.
We hate it.
Yeah.
So many. It's like Sophie's.
I was going to go a little overwhelm. Yeah.
I feel like it was written so beautifully that everyone got a moment to shine. And that's what's so kind of special about it. And with this amazing group that was assembled, like, I feel like, you know, when Anne's song came on, you're like, yeah, that was amazing. That was so awesome. And Alan knows, I think Alan is part of the heart of the whole thing, and his character and the character's growth and development. And his character moved me so much. So I don't know. I feel like Keegan's sense of humor. I mean, I don't know, the whole thing. It's hard to pick one moment. It's very difficult because I think each moment sets up the other and makes them all come together as hopefully a beautiful project.
I loved the end. I loved so much about it. I really loved being in this show so much, and such a fun experience and all that, everything. But I think actually when I watched it, I mean, it was so sort of fulfilled and exceeded all my hopes for it. But the very, very end, when Keegan and Cecily sort of go, and then it goes to black, I just loved that moment because everyone watching it so wants to know what happens and what's going to happen. And when they don't get it, it's like, and in that moment you think, of course we shouldn't have got it. It's the whole point is it was the perfect way to end, and you only knew it was the perfect way to end it once it had ended. I just thought that was so great. That was my favorite bit.
Love it. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you, Anne, Dove, Alan, Kristen, Jane, and Keegan, Michael. Thank you for that fabulous conversation, and congratulations on the success of the show. And if you haven't watched it yet, you can watch it on Apple TV.